to another LOSV. It's your real housewife YouTuber of Orlando. So let's just jump right into this video. I'm giving you guys the final decision of what happened at court, and it's truly just unbelievable. So let's jump right into it. First, I really want to just go over the whole detail of everything that happened, make a long story short so that the people that don't know like every detail of it, and explain like exactly what was happening as we went along. So let me go ahead and jump into a quick little story time so y'all can understand everything that happened in the case. So basically we got the fence, and the fence company came to us probably around May of last year, and all they said was we had to go through the HOA to get approved. So we went through the HOA to get approved for the fence. The HOA approved us. The fence company then said that they will handle everything else from that point on. Side note, we didn't know anything about having to have a permit to get the fence built, and we had no idea, like, you know, we're first time homeowners. We're basically learning as we're going, and we had no idea we needed a permit. And another thing is the fence company knew that, so I don't know, when they said they was gonna handle everything else, that's what we left them to do. So they didn't install our fence, I think, until about August. So once they came and installed our fence, you know what I'm saying, you know, somebody came out and measured our yard to see, you know, with our property, look at our property lines. So they looked at our property lines, looked at where we wanted to have the fence at. The HOA told us that we can actually have the fence to the sidewalk, and it just had to be 10 feet from the front of the house, and we can have it up to the sidewalk on the side of the house, because we live on a corner lot. So I did want it up to the sidewalk, but y'all, the sidewalk that's on the side of the house where the fence is at is like this. So it's like a design or whatever, so you can't put a straight fence on it. So we decided to go 5 feet in. Now I'll show you guys as I'm explaining this, I'm gonna show you guys the actual fence so y'all can see how the sidewalk looks and why we couldn't actually take it to the sidewalk. So moving on, they installed the fence, everything was good, and this was in August. We get a call, we get a letter in the mail from the city in November stating that we're in code violation because we do not have a permit on our fence. And so I immediately called my neighbors because they have a fence with the same company, and they got the same letter. So they was like, oh, we're just gonna go pay our permit, da 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 da. So I was like, but ain't the fence company supposed to do that, right? So I called the fence company, and the fence company was like, I said, y'all didn't get a permit for our fence. The city is telling us that y'all need a permit and everything else. And the fence company, this is the first thing they said to me. They said, we didn't know we needed a permit. So I'm like, how you a fence company and you don't know you need a permit, but you have to have a permit to put a fence up anywhere? So that was just like, what the heck? So then moving forward from that, they said that they were going to take care of it. They were going to get the permit, and, you know, we wouldn't have nothing to worry about. So from that point on, from November all the way until now, it is May of 2022. That was November of 2021. I have been going back and forth with the fence company and the city, talking to both of them, because the city was giving me time to get it fixed. So I have to go to the fence company to make sure they're getting it fixed. So then in between that time, the city told me that I needed to get the right setbacks, basically, which is measurements for my fence, because the fence company sent in setbacks, but for some reason the city rejected it. And I truly believe, y'all, that the city rejected it because the city at one point started being very, very petty. Because it's like after I complained about not having my permit, I did find out that they did get the permit. Well, they applied for the permit, but they never got the permit approved, and they never paid for the permit. So the permit was just literally, the application for the permit was just sitting there, and it was not complete because they needed they needed my my measurements of my yard. They needed that, you know, my property lines basically. So the city and the fence company was basically going back and forth on their own without my husband and I knowledge, you know. So when I came into the picture, you know, the fence company was like, basically was like, well, we sent them what we needed to send them, and they're not accepting it, so whatever. And I'm like, it ain't whatever, like we're dealing with this, like they're coming after us because y'all are not cooperating with them. So the city started being really petty, and that's when they started throwing out all of these crazy measurements. So the fence company at one point, they stopped responding to the city. Anybody in the city that tried to get in contact with the fence company, they completely just stopped responding, stopped emailing, calling, like you couldn't get in touch with nobody. Then I tried to get in touch with the fence company, and the fence company stopped responding to me. They don't answer my phone calls. They changed their number. The lady that is the owner of the company changed her number. They will not respond to any. I then left numerous emails, numerous voicemails. They will not respond. They will not say anything. They just was like, we're done. We're moving on. Y'all deal with it. And so that caused the city to just be so petty and make up all these rules. So that's where the 20 feet from the sidewalk came into place. The city, I had to actually pull up on a fence company. I Googled their address, went to their office, and just walked in and was like, we need to figure out what is going on. So I said, whatever paperwork the city is asking for, give it to me, and I will take it to the city and give it to them. So they gave me the paperwork, the same thing that they gave the city. I take it from that office, I take it to the city, and I say, this is what they gave me to give to y'all. And it was a lady in the city office that was so nasty and rude. She asked me what was the name of the fence company. I told her. She was like, oh my god. She just started going off like, I'm tired of them. They've been screwing everybody over. We got so many cases with them. And you know, so she taking out her frustration on me. So then I showed her the measurements, and she literally was like, I can't accept this. She was like, you have to tell the fence company to call us. And I was like, well, I've been trying to, but they're not cooperating. They're not responding. So now I have to take matters in my own hands. So the fence company, they just basically told me that they were shutting down. They're going out of business. And that's why the owner is not responding to anybody. And that was that. And I was just like, what the heck? Like, you know. And so moving on. The lady at the city was just being so nasty and so rude to me. And that's when she came up. She took the paper. She went in the back office. She drew on the paper, your fence has to be moved in 20 feet from the sidewalk and 20 feet from the street. And or from the front of the house. And I was just like, I ain't never heard of that, you know. And she was like, well, that's what the rules is. That's how it goes. And, you know, this is what you have to do. And I was just like, okay, I'm like, that out of all these months, I have never heard that. So, you know, I'm frustrated, I'm mad, and I'm like, this lady in the city, you know, she in the office working there. So I'm thinking like, okay, this is what it is. This is what we have to do. This is ridiculous. And I was just, you know, so mad that we have to move our fence in. So after that, you know, we still tried to contact the fence company because we like, okay, if it needs to be moved in, y'all need to fix this. How's we gonna fix this? Still no response. Then we get the letter to go to court. We go to court, and you know, the judge, he literally sat up there and said, you know, I have had about 20 cases this week with the same issue with these fence companies. He said, you know, the fence company should be the one in court, not you guys. He was like, but you know, these are the laws and I have to follow them. So we have to, you know, make you accountable. Like, because it's nothing in place for the fence company to be accountable, and, you know, they can do what they want to do. And, you know, there's no laws against these fence companies screwing people over. And the judge was like, you should get everybody together that you know, and y'all should demand laws to be changed. I'm like, this is the thing. If y'all have so many people coming in and y'all see that this is a problem, y'all should just change the law. Like, why do I have to make a whole rally for y'all to change something that y'all know is a problem? But anyway, we in court, and basically, you know, the judge was like, you know, provide us with the paperwork that you have, and, you know, if you basically, I said, can we just pay the permit? Like, if we can just pay the permit, can we pay the permit and like be done with it? And he said, you know, make sure, you know, everything is supposed to be how it is, and if you can just pay the permit, then see if you're able to do that and without any other issues with the fence being moved, or if the fence has to be moved, it has to be moved. So we had to go to the permitting department again. This time after court, you know, so that was the judge ruling. He said, figure out if your fence needs to be moved or not. He said, and figure out everything that you have to do regarding this fence and pay the permit, and then you'll be, you know, everything will be fine. And he said, and if we don't do it within a certain amount of time, they will charge us $100 a day until we get the situation fixed. So he gave us a nice amount of time to get everything done. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So we go to the permitting department, and the permit department, it was a different lady in there. The lady that I actually was talking to the first time, that was nasty and rude to me and told me my fence had to be moved in 20 feet and she would not accept my paperwork. She was not there that day. She wasn't there. It was another lady filling in for her. So I goes in, I sit down and I talk to the lady, and she said, the only thing that we're missing is the setbacks. She was like, that's all we need. And I said, the same paper that I gave the other lady, I said, this paper right here. And she was like, oh my God, this is the paper we need. She literally took the paper, y'all, gave me some paperwork to fill out so we can take the fence company information off of our case and just have everything go under us. So we had to switch that over, changed all of our paperwork, filled out some papers, and basically she took that paper, got it approved, and now all we have to do is pay for our permit. Look at God. Look at God. So we get to keep our fence, and I just thank God, you know. Like, I don't understand why the first lady was so nasty and rude, because it could have literally been fixed before. So the thing is, the whole situation could have been fixed when I first got the first letter in the mail. If we would have just went and paid the permit, I believe everything would have been fine. Because the fence company did send them the setbacks, the same setbacks that I gave them. The fence company did see them, and they did have it in their system, but for some reason they rejected it. But I feel like they rejected it because they was being nasty towards the fence company, because they have a bad history with the fence company. So it was a lot of pettiness going on between the fence company and the city. And it spilled over on us having to deal with all the crap, you know. So to make a long story short, we get to keep our fence how it is. We don't have to move it. All we have to do is pay our permit. Our permit is only $81. And I just cannot thank God enough, because I'm like, I know some people might not care or whatever, but it's like, you know, when you get something and you looking forward to it, and then it's just like so much crazy stuff happen, you be like, oh my goodness. So it's like, you know, now I can feel like I can enjoy my backyard, and, you know, my daughter can have a safe place to play, and we can, you know, get the things we want to get and do everything we want to do, you know. That's a part of, like, you know, owning your own home. You want to be able to do things to your home, and I know that there's rules and regulations with, you know, living in an HOA, things that you can and cannot do. But speaking of that, I want to address a comment that I got, because, like, let me just read this comment. It's from Wilford. So, Wilford, I appreciate your comments. You leave a lot of good information on your comments when you do comment on all of my Florida content. But I do want to clear some stuff up with this comment that you just left me. So, you stated that, in this comment, I'm going to put it up on the screen too so y'all can see it as well. It says, well, most people that come to Florida don't realize that we have rules here, unlike most states. The law is that you must know where your property line begins and ends. So, I'm going to address that first. Because every state got rules and laws, for one. And two, we know where our property line begins and ends. When we sat down on closing and closed on this home, they gave us multiple paperwork. They gave us multiple papers with, it's called a survey, which it shows you your property line. It shows you where your property goes. It shows us where our property ends and begins from each side of our house. So, therefore, we know where our property line ends and begins. And we also had to give that same paperwork to the fence company so they can know where to put the fence at. So, moving on, you said, in the city of Orlando, it's 10 feet in from the edge of the sidewalk. Orange County is 6 feet in from the edge of the sidewalk. I was shocked when I saw you putting a fence without making your property boundaries. So, to address that, my HOA stated to us, they came to our home and told us we can have the fence up to the sidewalk on the side of our house. And they told us it had to be 10 feet from the front of our house. That's what our HOA said. I don't live in the city of Orlando, and I do not live in Orange County. So that is for my subdivision, my neighborhood. That is their rules. It's also other people around my area in my neighborhood that have fences on the corner, and they fence literally go right up to the sidewalk more than mine do. I took pictures of them so I could show the court that, because I'm like, how can you tell me I have to move my fence in 20 feet when other people on a corner don't even have 20 feet to work with? I just so happen to have a bigger lot, but other people in my neighborhood, their houses are like 10 feet from the street, and they're not working with 20 feet, or they might be 5 feet from the sidewalk. They're not working with all that space. So, therefore, how is that a rule for everybody if everybody don't have that much space to work with? You feel what I'm saying? It can't be a rule that it got to be 20 feet if everybody ain't got 20 feet to work with. So, to address that, my HOA told me, you know, that we can have our fences up to the sidewalk, and it's multiple homes that have fences up to the sidewalk. The only reason my fence is not to the sidewalk is because my street goes in a curve, and the sidewalk is curved, and I couldn't have a straight fence on that sidewalk, so we pushed it in 5 feet. So that is the second thing I wanted to address. So yeah, but about you being shocked that I put the fence up without making property boundaries, that we did everything that we was supposed to do. We did everything that we was told to do, and yeah, we're allowed to have our fence there. They are not wrong. They was very wrong. The fence company was very, 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 very wrong, because for one, they stopped responding to us, and they stopped responding to the city. They went out of business, and they just said F us. They just literally left all the dirty work on us for us to fix it. Now, if we would have had to move the fence, we would have had to go with a whole nother fence company and pay a whole nother fence company to come out, remeasure our house, plus move our fence back. Who got money to do that? Like, everybody out here ain't rich. You know what I'm saying? So we already paying on this fence. Like, we didn't, thank God we didn't pay up front. Like, we making payments. So, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot to have to come out of pocket and pay a whole nother fence company to come and fix somebody else's work. Okay, moving on to the next thing you said. This is why Orlando and Florida is so beautiful, unlike most states. When owning property, you must know you must know where your property lines begin and end. Like I said, we know where our property lines begin and end. Yeah, I don't know why you would think most states aren't beautiful. It's like, I'm from Ohio. Yes, Ohio has beautiful parts, just like it has parts that I don't think is so beautiful. Orlando has beautiful parts, but it's some parts of Orlando that is not beautiful as well. So every place that you go to has its beauty and has its rough patches. So yeah, I don't understand that, but like I said before, we know what our property lines are. We was well aware of that when we bought this house. We was well aware of what the property lines was before we bought the house, because when we actually did a tour of the house, they told us what the property lines was then, and they also gave us the paperwork of our property lines when we actually moved in here and closed on our home. And then you also said, and in living in an HOA community, it is a must in Florida. It's great. Unlike most states, it's kept bad homeowners from coming in and destroying the value of your home and your community. This is why I love my home state. Other states don't care, which I believe that is totally not true. It's HOAs in other states too, like everywhere. You could go anywhere and find, like, it's becoming more and more popular that everywhere you go is an HOA community. Before we moved to Orlando, we was actually looking at buying a house in, not Orlando, but before we moved to Florida, we actually looked at buying a house in Ohio, and the community that we was looking at had an HOA as well. Like, it's HOAs everywhere. And they are put in place so that they can keep the neighborhood beautiful. You can't just do anything to your houses. So HOA's been around in every state for a very long time. It's communities with and without them. So I don't know. But I'm happy that you love your home state enough to, comment on my videos and let me know what the deal is. But, like I said before, everything that I go through is me sharing my personal experiences with my relocation journey to Florida. So I'm telling you guys as I'm experiencing it, and I'm just hoping that I can help the next person out. So when I go through something, I'm like, okay, look, y'all, this is what I went through, and this is what I'm dealing with, to help the next person out, if so they don't have to go through no bull crap, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, even with the whole house buying process, I told y'all how that was. It was a complete horrible disaster. Thank God we got a house. Thank God we're homeowners. But the whole process of going through it, it was horrible. We had crazy lenders, crazy realtor, that they just screwed us over. They lied to us. They had us looking at paperwork that wasn't the real paperwork, had us believing our what is that? Our interest rate was a different interest rate. It was just a whole mess. Like, they really ripped us off at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, I'm still thankful to God that I got a roof over my head. I'm a first-time homeowner, and like, me and my husband and I provided a nice life for our child, and that's our goal at the end of the day. God was with us through our, court issues and this issue with this fence. Like I said, the city was being absolutely ridiculous, and they was putting their frustrations on us instead of the fence company, because they could not. The fence company wasn't doing what the city wanted them to do. At the end of the day, that was the issue. The fence company literally skipped out, and they did not cooperate with the city. So instead of the city taking out their issues on the fence company, they took it out on us. And, we got it dealt with. Like I said, I thank God we can keep our fence in place. I am so freaking happy. And yeah, I just wanted to address that, because like, I mean, I understand, Wilford, that, I get it that, you wanted to leave a comment and everything like that, but I just wanted to let you know that we are very knowledgeable about what was going on with our fence. We know where our property lines are at, and, Like I said, this is not Orange County and this is not Orlando. We're outside of Orlando, so I guess the rules are kind of different. But in my community, our fence can be up to the sidewalk and it do not have to be pushed back from, as far as the side of the house goes. Now, the front of the house, like I said, yes, it has to be pushed back. My community says 10 feet. And as far as the city goes, they approved it. They approved our fence as it is, and that is how it is. So, yes, I am just so happy. And I just, like I said, I hope this video can educate other people. And please do your research when you are getting a fence installed. Don't make the same mistake we did. Like I said, we dropped the ball because we did not do research on the company. We took the word of our neighbors that just literally got a fence, and I don't believe they did research either. And like I said, they ended up going through the same crap we went through. But since they went ahead and just paid their permit straight out the gate, they didn't even want to go through none of that. They issue was solved. And like I said, I believe if we would have just paid right in there too, we would have been fine as well. But we was like, what? We wanted to talk to the fence company and see what was going on, because I feel like the amount of money that this fence is worth, y'all should have, if y'all said y'all was gonna pay the permit, y'all should have paid the permit. So, you know, it's just a principle of the whole matter. But yes, if you are looking for a fence company, I highly, highly, highly suggest you do your research. And these people that come to these new communities knocking on your door asking you to buy this, buy that, get you know, water systems, solar panels, fences, housekeeping, y'all do y'all research before y'all go with any of these people, because I heard that these solar panel companies are ripping people off. And as we know, a lot of these fence companies are ripping people off, and the judge told us that literally companies will go out, like anybody can start a fence company. The learning lesson of the day: anything you get done to your house, you need a permit. And I also found out in court that if you buy a above ground pool, so y'all know those pools in Walmart, like I'll show y'all a picture of like a pool in Walmart. So you know those little pools, above ground pools that you can get in Walmart for like $270. You have to have a permit for that. You have to get it inspected, and somebody from the city has to come out and make sure that it is properly put together. You have the proper safety measures on it, and yeah, you'll get fined for that, and you know, you'll have to take it down if you don't get that. And I was like, that's something that I absolutely never knew. I knew people that got above ground pools. Like, I mean, like I said, you can buy one for like a 4 feet pool or whatever for like $200 out of Walmart. Set that baby up yourself, put water in it, and go on about your business. But yes, you have to have a permit for that here. And I know my mom got a above ground pool in Ohio, but I don't know how the rules is in Ohio. I don't know if she got a permit for her pool. I'll ask her. But I'm definitely going to ask my mom if she got a permit for her pool, and I'll put it down. If I talk to her before I put this out, I'll put it at the bottom if she did or not. But y'all, yeah, so that was another issue somebody was having in court too. They literally got gifted. Somebody, it was a lady, and somebody in her family gifted her kids a pool from Walmart. And they put the pool together. The people was like, they lived out of town or something like that. So they put the pool together, kids playing in the pool for a whole year. And then here comes the city like, oh, you got a pool in your yard. And she don't have a fence around her yard. So, you know, they looking all in your yard. And they looked up to see if she had a permit for her pool. She didn't have a permit because she didn't know she needed one. And yeah, she had to go in there and pay to have a permit for her pool. And she had to get measurements on her pool. She had to cut, like, the judge was asking her to do a whole bunch of stuff. She was like, listen, all I know is somebody in my family bought the kids a pool. They came and put the pool together. They live in a whole nother state. They went back home, and I don't have any information about the pool or where it came from. All I know is they got it installed for us and blah, blah, blah. And they told that lady, like, well, we need the measurements. You have to get it measured. We have to have this, that, and the third. She's like, how am I going to get this information? So, yeah, you guys, it's a lot. So that's what I'm learning now, that like basically whatever you do to your house, check to make sure you get a permit if it needs to have a permit. Even with our yard. So one thing that the city said, well, that our HOA said is, we got trees in our backyard that I want to remove and put palm trees in. My HOA said I can remove anything, I can do anything to my backyard as long as I got a fence in it. So as long as I got my yard fenced in, anything I want to do to my backyard, I can do. That's what my HOA said. As far as getting those trees removed, the city said they didn't specify on how big the trees was, but they said if you're getting trees removed from your property, you have to go through the city. So I don't know, I don't know. So now when we get our palm trees put in, do I have to call the doggone city and say, hey, I'm removing these little bitty trees? I don't know. It's just crazy. So, you know, that's something to think about. But yes, I just wanted to address that. I wanted to tell you guys my great news. My great news that I get to keep my fence. It was stressful because, you know, just going through that is stressful for anybody, especially when you thinking that you know, you're trying to get your house together and, you know. But yes, won't he do it? God did it, and he blessed us once again, and we get to keep our fence not only for us but for my child, and I am so happy. Yeah, and like I said, this is what I'm going through, and I want to share my journey with y'all in hopes to help somebody else. So you know, yeah, that's all I got to say. So stay tuned for whatever that comes next with my Florida life journey, okay? But thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope y'all watched to the end so y'all could have got the full details of everything that went on. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. Let me just go ahead and shut up. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, y'all.